Instant analysis for the Jacksonville Jaguars of their fifth-round selections presented by Pepsi and Papa John's. In the fifth round, 157th overall, the safety Daniel Thomas from Auburn University, and 165th overall, the wide receiver Colin Johnson from the University of Texas. Welcome in. Full team coverage. JP Shadrick, Brian Sexton, John Oehser, Ashlyn, Sullivan. And let's start with the safety, Daniel Thomas. The feel here is more of a strong safety type. He may not run all over the field, but he had a productive career, started every game the last 2 years at Auburn, Brian, and another piece to this secondary, and certainly on special teams.
Well, and in the fifth round in particular, special teams is where you're looking to find that value. Developmental guys, you want to work their way into the system on defense, but he's a good-sized guy at 6 foot and over 200 pounds, has played at a high level in the Southeastern Conference, and their expectation will be that he comes in and contributes immediately on special teams. Linebackers, safeties, wide receivers, bigger wide receivers in particular, like Colin Johnson, are all high-value targets for the special.
Yeah, special teams key, certainly from here on out the rest of the day. John Oehser, Colin Johnson, 6'6", 222 pounds. It's a big body for a wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first pick of this round clearly showed that they thought they needed numbers and speed and size on defense. They are replenishing this in a big way. I think it was 6 of 8 picks at that point had gone to the defense side of the ball. That surprised me a little bit. As far as Colin Johnson, they are clearly trying to get some guys, some physical guys with Chenault yesterday, some physical guys who can make some plays. They've got D.D. Westbrook. They've got Chark, who's not he's big, but he's not, that huge body. They clearly want some guys who can be physical, I guess be red zone targets, and they needed numbers at wide receiver too. They didn't have a whole lot of depth there, and they need guys who can make plays, and they need big guys who make plays in the red zone.
JP, let me jump in here on Johnson in particular. When I saw his size, and I saw a little bit of him when he played at the Big 12 Conference, not a ton, but I remember that he was big. But he's not big as in a guy that you'd immediately say, oh, he's going to be a tight end. Jaguars missed out on that tight end run at the end of the third, start of the fourth round. They just weren't in position to grab a guy. So you look when this guy comes at the bottom of the fifth and think, okay, 6'6", 220. Maybe this is a guy they bulk up a little bit and try to convert Ernest Wilford-like into a tight end, which is what the Jaguars did back 15 years ago with Ernest Wilford. But no, this is not. This is a receiver. He's tall. He's slender. He's a good size at 220 pounds, and he's a good athlete. He's not fast, but he's a really nice athlete. There are some plays, if you go and watch the highlights of him, that he makes where he is leaving his feet and lunging for the ball. And when you're 6'6" with his kind of wingspan, you can make some plays. This is about, John, as you said, going up and getting a play, getting the ball in the red zone.
They need those type of guys on this offense. Ashlyn Sullivan with us. I know you've been chasing the fourth-round picks, and you had a chance to catch up with Josiah Scott and Shaq Quarterman. Let's start with Quarterman. That's the fun local angle. He's from Oakleaf, right around the corner from here. How excited was he and his family that he's coming to Jacksonville?
Yes, actually a little behind right now, focusing on the fourth round guys, but I just talked to Shaq Quarterman, and he said when the 904 area code popped on his phone, his mom went absolutely ballistic, jumping up and down on the couch. He said, safe to say that they will be season ticket holders. I mean, he could not be happier. Oakleaf High School alumni to stay here in Jacksonville. I think Jaguars fans are really going to enjoy him. He seems very mature for his age. 4-year starter at Miami, middle linebacker. Mark Ellens called him an alpha dog personality on and off the field. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Ready to work. Let's get to work. Very strictly all business. I think Jaguars fans are definitely going to like him.
Sounds good. Look for those visits coming up shortly on Jaguars.com. The Jags, though, have picks in the fifth round. Our instant analysis presented by Pepsi and Papa John's. Daniel Thomas from Auburn University, the safety, and Colin Johnson, the Texas wide receiver. And guys, Brian, we mentioned it earlier. You mentioned it just a second ago, John. This is from here on out, you're going to have to do more than just your position to stick around on this football team. You got to be a special teams contributor, Brian.
Well, and they're looking, if you look, Colin Johnson is a 4-year starter and a team captain. They're looking for tough, smart guys who understand not only the offense, but the commitment they're going to have to make on special teams. I saw that Daniel Jeremiah made the same comment about the defense and how the Jaguars are rebuilding their defense with good players and strong character guys. They're rebuilding the whole roster here. All of these guys, whoever come in the 6th round and the 7th round, expect that they're either team captains or longtime starters and guys who are not afraid to get dirty. They're not looking to be the divas.
John, it's about depth from here on out the rest of the day.
Yeah, it really is, and it's about collegiate production. I know Ashlyn talked to I'm drawing a blank on the Miami linebacker, Shaq Quarterman. Sorry, and I was listening to his media availability. There are guys as rookies and as young guys who absolutely jump off the page as being different. This guy is a 4th or 5th year guy in terms of how he approaches it. You can tell that's what Ellens was talking about with us. He jumps off the page in terms of his approach. Again, it has just been a theme. I think we're 8 through it or 9 or 10 guys in now. Every one of these guys jumps off the page in terms of character, in terms of leadership. It is so clear they are moving on from what they believed was a rough locker room in the past. And this is a sea change draft for this organization on that front.
Yeah, 9 picks down already, Ashlyn.
Yeah, I've lost count, JP. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Yeah. You're gonna have to start using your toes here soon once we get to the 7th round today. 3 left to go for the Jags. But yeah, Ashlyn, you go through them from the start. Henderson, Chasen, Chenault, Hamilton, Bart, Scott, Quarterman today, Thomas, Johnson. From top to bottom, these guys are off the field highly regarded as well.
Yeah, I've kind of sensed the theme after talking to all of these guys. They all have great personalities, but when you ask what they're doing off the field, they always go back to what they're doing on the field. Basically, every single guy has said, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to come in here, contribute. The past 2 picks in the 5th round have talked about how excited they are to contribute on special teams. Whatever the Jaguars need to do, they will do it. Strictly business. A sense of focus in all of these 9 picks so far. So I think it's fairly obvious the Jaguars are really focusing on personalities off the field and bringing in good, high character guys this year.
The 9th pick of the 12 for the Jaguars was Colin Johnson from Texas, the wide receiver, and wide receivers coach Keenan McCardell joins us now on this Zoom call. You got another one, Keenan. How are you?
I snuck another one in. It was good, man. He's a solid
How
kid.
do you sneak?
Everything you said, he's a great kid. He's gonna come in and change our locker room with his attitude, his work ethic, type of kid I like.
How do you sneak 6'6", 222 pounds in? I mean, that's not a subtle thing. What kind of a role do you envision for him? How does he fit into what you want to do?
You know what? I think he's gonna be a big target, another big target like DJ. He's taller than DJ by 2 inches, but you know what? You add some more size. Coach Middleton always says this is a big man game, and got a big receiver, a big target for our quarterback. It'll help him see a lot of guys, and 6'5". He's a pretty big kid.
Ashlyn, what you got?
Keenan, I remember I was sitting in the rubber hallway when you drafted G.J. Chark, and I remember you coming out of the war room and basically jumping up and down. You were fist bumping, you were doing all these kinds of things. Now that you're home, what's the reaction when you get a big-time wide receiver like this?
Well, you get, to get another big target, it makes it hard on smaller DBs. It's hard to match up outside, and I think Colin brings that size, that toughness, his attitude, and wants to play special teams and wants to do everything he can to make our team. And that's what he has to do, and that's what everybody has to do that's being drafted this year. I mean, they have to be able to contribute all the way around. And the biggest thing for us is the way they contribute off the field, in our locker room, and how they carry themselves around Jacksonville and our community. And, like I said yesterday, it's always great to have great players. I mean, great people first, and then you'll get great players. And he's a great person.
That's been a theme so far in this draft. John, what you got for us?
Keenan, referencing Johnson, I would say he's a 5th round pick. There are things he needs to work on to be a key guy for you going forward. Where are his strengths to you, and what does he need to improve?
His strengths are, he plays very, very tough, good on 50-50 balls, and, in the red area, he should be a big target for us also. I think, with his size, it's just a thing that should happen automatically. But, things are not going to be easy for him out in the open field sometimes. But you know what? That's what coaching is for, to help him out. And I think he's a guy that understands and will take great coaching and go work on things. I mean, from my talking to him, it was a pleasant surprise how smart he was and what a great kid he was.
Keenan, great stuff. Thanks for the time. Congratulations. You got another one. You snuck him in.
I snuck him in at 6'5". I'm good.
We'll talk to you later, Keenan.
All right, talk to you guys later.
Joining us, the wide receivers coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The reaction there, that's good stuff. Yeah, it's tough to sneak that guy around, but it's nice to have that height and that ability really in the red zone. You throw it up in the corner, guys, and Ashlyn, this is another weapon for this offense, possibly, if he works out. John, this is a guy that you can toss it up in the corner and maybe he can go get it for you.
It's the whole idea. Keenan talked before about he likes different elements in the room. D.D. Westbrook obviously is not the tall guy you're going to throw the ball up to in the corner of the end zone. So with a fifth-round pick, as I asked Keenan, there are going to be things he has to do to get on the field. You wouldn't expect him to be in the four-man rotation, or that's why Keelan Cole and Chris Conley and these guys are here. But if he develops, it will give them an element that they haven't had enough of over the last 4 or 5 years, which is throw it up and go get a guy.
I want to go back. In 2005, the Jaguars drafted a 6'6" receiver and converted Matt Jones from quarterback to wide receiver. And they were excited about him because he had that mismatch. Now, Matt could fly, and this kid doesn't fly. However, Jones was up above everyone else in the red zone all the time, but he had terrible hands and never could pull the ball in. So we never saw that potential. It was exciting when you knew that you were going to see the fade because you thought, well, Matt's going to be open. Will he catch it this time? This kid had a ton of catches. I think he had a single season record at Texas last year. So he's got the size. He's got the hands. He's got the experience as a receiver. He's not converting from quarterback. 15 years later, maybe they're finally able to actualize and get that big target that at the very back of the end zone can pull it in. I tell you what, if he would have pulled that one in the end zone in New England in the third quarter of that playoff game back at the end of the 2007 season, who knows if the Jaguars don't pull off an upset in that game. It was a key moment, but he had terrible hands.
13 years ago, maybe they'll
let it go, man. Let it go.
The page. We'll see.
No, I'm not letting it. I'm not holding on to it, John. I'm trying to use an example of big receivers that were always up there. For all of Jones' lack of hands, he was always above everyone else in the corner of the end zone, waiting to pull it down. Hopefully, this kid is the guy who can finally pull it down. It would have been a huge, huge advantage for that offense back then had he been able to catch some of those balls.
Good stuff, Brian, John, Ashlyn. Thank you very much. We'll have more coverage after the 6th round. But in the 5th round, the Jaguars get safety Daniel Thomas from Auburn and wide receiver Colin Johnson from Texas. Our coverage presented by Pepsi and Papa John's. More coming up later on Jaguars.com.